Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Tactical Friday. You heard from him this past Monday, and I am blessed to be bringing Chris Burres back to the show to talk a little bit more about My Vital C. Chris, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you, Zach, so much for having me. We had a great time on the podcast. Glad to be here for Tactical Friday.
Man, I'm excited because this is where obviously we get a little bit more tactical, a little more granular about the amazing stuff you're doing with My Vital C. And obviously, I want to talk a little bit about my own experience with it since you were awesome enough to send me over a care package to try out the product. And overall, man, I want to know before I dive into my experience, what have you seen as being like the top two things that people are coming to My Vital C for, what the benefit they're getting? I know we talked a little bit about sleep. I want to highlight that one, but what else would you say would be like the top two things people are seeing as a benefit of integrating this into their healthy lifestyle?
Well, I think there's one that's really kind of salient for your audience, right? So you're all about tactical leadership. You're all about entrepreneurship, and one of the things that entrepreneurs tend to do is not really focus on their sleep, right? There's this kind of mentality, I'll sleep when I'm dead. And I think if they went out and read a book by Dr. Matthew Walker, which is called Why We Sleep, 25 years of research about sleep, we mentioned it in the podcast, and the importance of sleep and what happens detrimentally to you if you don't get sleep, then you would change your tune about sleep. I think we all think about, hey, we all know sleep is good for our mental, physical, and emotional well-being. And there's absolutely, we've got to get our sleep every single night. Well, unless there's something else to do, right? And we're the only species on the planet that will forego sleep for no healthful purpose. Every other species on the planet, if they're not getting food, evading a predator, or mating, they're getting their regular sleep. They don't miss that. And so I think this is where it could resonate with your audience. Most people, and our most consistent testimonial is people take it in the morning, they report mental focus and energy during the day, and then better sleep that night. And I'm gonna share my kind of embarrassing sleep story. I have to embarrassingly admit that I used to take 2 naps before noon on Saturdays and Sundays. And the way that would work is I'd wake up with my kids. I've got 12, they're now 12, but at the time much younger, twins. And we would go down, they're watching cartoons, I'm taking a nap. They're actually sitting on top of me, which somebody pointed out was brilliant parenting because they can't go anywhere without like me waking up. That was nap number 1. Then I would go downstairs, have breakfast, resume the position after breakfast, and I would take nap number 2. And if I wasn't out of the house, I was taking 2 naps before noon on Saturdays and Sundays. I started taking My Vital C on a regular basis in 2018. And that stopped happening almost immediately, where you're sitting there, the kids are watching cartoons. I don't really want to watch cartoons. I don't really want to fall asleep. So I ended up going out and like doing stuff around the house and actually getting stuff done. So that's kind of my testimonial about sleep. And we do get lots of good testimonials about sleep, and you can share yours. The next thing that really resonates, I'm very much a scientist. I'm not interested in like, I feel better. I'm not interested in, I think my sleep is better. I'm like, hey, I'm sleeping better. I'm experiencing this and I wasn't experiencing it. And I am the geeky scientist that you may see in front of you. I have a spreadsheet back to 2014 tracking my migraines. I used to get 4 to 5 migraines per year. I was tracking them, trying to figure out like what was causing them. If you've ever had a migraine, they're just miserable experiences. And so I was tracking it. When I started taking this product on a regular basis in 2018, I didn't get a single migraine. Now you couple that with my wife. I always remember the number 9 with my wife because she would get 9+ migraines a month. And I remember 9 because they would give her a medication and they wouldn't give her more than 9. So any migraine that happened after 9, she just had to, grin and bear it. When she started, and by the way, it took me a while, the whole spouse angle, like, what do you know about supplementation and health? Took me a while to get her to take it. And when she finally started taking it, she's down to a migraine once a month, once every other month. And so it really is having some positive impact. And we do know that this material will cross the blood-brain barrier And so there's some understanding that it gets into mitochondria and helps mitochondrial function. And so that's probably what's going on, but that's really kind of scientific hand waving. We don't know exactly what's going on. And scientists much smarter than me will ultimately kind of figure that out.
And that's kind of the fascinating part of this, because it is one of those, the brain is incredibly powerful. It's something that there are a lot of theories about, but in reality, there's a lot of unknown about the brain and the power that we have with it and without it, consciously and subconsciously. And that's kind of where we talked about offline. When my sleep, I was going, as I was taking the supplement, I was dreaming more, which as a veteran is one of those that, the dreams are more vivid. It's not necessarily, give or take, right? It's one of those that I love being able to sleep, because that 4 hours of sleep a night is not healthy in so many realms of the world. But also the dreams are so vivid. It's one of those that I have to be a little bit careful with it. If I got to get up early the next morning, I want to be careful with the dreams, because as I'm working through my personal stuff and my mental side, obviously the sleep's helping with that, but I'll have to do other work attached to it. Can you talk just a little bit about that deeper sleep and how that's correlated with the product, since that's something I've experienced myself?
Yeah, I can share a couple of testimonials. One of them that really comes to mind. I actually forgot two. So there's one which I kind of argue is the worst possible testimonial, which is one of our largest distributors here in Houston. She's now largest distributor. She originally ordered the product for her dog. She had no intention of taking it, and she noticed such a profound difference in her dog that she decided to take it. One thing, by the way, that I like about pet testimonials is there's no placebo with dog. Like the dog is not like, oh, I got my little dropper this morning, so I'm going to be, more spry and bouncy and, whatever. She noticed this significant difference in her dog. She started taking the product herself. And I did a video with her, and she shares, like, 3 months in, had you asked her, has she noticed anything? She would have said no, but she had to like stop and kind of take stock of her life. And she's like, well, I am working later. I am waking up earlier, and I was never really a morning person. And then this is arguably the worst testimonial about a supplement ever. I cleaned my garage, right? It's bad, but it means something, right? The reason you're not cleaning your garage, it could be the emotional baggage of whatever's in the garage. It could just be the energy. I don't have the energy to do it at the end of the day. Whatever it is, she got past it and cleaned her garage. And I think it probably had more to do with the emotional, based on kind of this next example. I got some product to an influencer in the UK, and she did a video for me. And the first part of the video, she was like, well, I'm in the process of quitting smoking. And I was like, palm to forehead, because if you've ever been around somebody who's quitting smoking, it's usually not a great time for getting positive testimonials really about anything. But she did go on and leave a really glowing testimonial about it. And one of the phrases she used is, I find myself having a longer fuse with my child. And that's entirely about kind of sitting in the right place mentally so that you can have that longer fuse with your child, especially in the middle of quitting smoking. So I think there are positive things. And again, at the end of the day, this really could be explained by better sleep. Real quick, I think what could be going on is the improvements in mitochondria. We know that this molecule, this ESS60 molecule, is a great antioxidant. There's peer-reviewed published papers that show it to be 125 times more powerful than vitamin C. There is an ad hoc study that shows it 172 times more powerful than vitamin C, but actually works a little different than traditional antioxidants. And we call it the boss. So it buffers oxidative stress. And we know it can get into the mitochondria. That's the powerhouse of every cell. So every one of our cells has this mitochondrial engine in it, and it's converting the food we eat into ATP, which is the energy source that cells can use. And we know that it can get in there, and we know that it's beneficial. We know that part of the process of creating ATP spits off, kind of like a car spitting off an exhaust, but they're called ROSs, reactive oxygen species. The ESS60 molecule can sit there, hold on to those reactive oxygen species so that they don't go around and do any damage. They really oxidize the body. And then when our body replenishes natural antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin D, then they can interact with that reactive oxygen species and take it out of the body. So it's and then that remains, the ESS60 molecule remains there to serve that purpose again. That's my current theory. That's, again, I won't say it's scientific hand waving, but it is certainly scientific theorizing that that's actually the benefit that's happening and impacting sleep.
And that's something that so many of us in the entrepreneur space, the really just life. I like to boil it down to the fields I'm in because it's something I'm familiar with personally, but veteran space, entrepreneurship space, but life in general, everybody's looking for more sleep because we never seem to be able to find enough of it. And I love the phrase you said earlier, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I can't tell you how many times I've said that one. I mean, it's sad to think about how many times I've said that actually. And I want to give the audience an opportunity, man. You've given us these great tactics. You've given us what we can expect as a result from incorporating this into our lifestyle. What's the best way for them to get the product, test out the product, to get more there and see all the amazing content around My Vital C and everything you've created?
Yeah, so we've made a particular URL for your audience. They can just go to myvitalc.com/BATL. So that's, be a tactical leader, myvitalc.com/BATL. When they get there, they can find our products. I would recommend the olive oil product. We've got gel caps in case you don't like the taste of olive oil. We actually have a dog and cat version. I like to throw out there that we sell a lot more dog version than cat version. So, if you're a feline lover, maybe you need to represent. We also have a face serum getting rave reviews. We were actually getting hair and skin testimonials from consumption. So incorporated it into kind of an inside out product. So we've got that. Whatever you find, you can get on subscription and you can save 25% on the list price by going on subscription. Don't worry, you can cancel at any time. We have 500 5-star reviews. Our staff is not trained to talk you out of your subscription. Take advantage of that 25% discount. And we also have a coupon code, $15 off. That code is BATL also. So $15 off of your first order. Use the coupon code BATL.
I love it. I appreciate you making that nice and easy for the audience. And I really encourage everybody to go check it out because the benefits I've had in sleep improvement and actually getting some sleep, it's amazing because that's where the body's healing the most. And that's where I know after being beat up for years in the military, I needed it myself. So I appreciate you for everything you're doing, Chris, and bringing that into the world. And I definitely encourage everybody to go check it out. Utilize this amazing resource and Chris and everything he's bringing to the world. And overall, Chris, I appreciate your wisdom and for coming in front of the audience, my friend.
Zach, thank you so much for having me on Tactical Friday.